Intersection Magazine Podcast.
Welcome to Intersection Magazine Podcast. This is an audio summary of the June issue of Intersection Magazine, and it's the 10th volume and 11th issue. So for June 2026, we started writing on a piece created by the NFX team, specifically Gigi Levi Weiss, on what comes next is bigger than SaaS ever was. So it's a predictive piece. We also wrote about the difference between differentiation and defensibility. And then we had a Q&A with Kevin Tusimi of Forge Prep. So that's basically what we're going to be covering in this summary. Once again, I'm your host, Nicholas Kianda. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. So jumping right in, we normally have or devote quite a lot of space in the magazine to bits and pieces of our own advertising. Recently, on a conversation with one of a potential client, he stated that the magazine had a little bit too much advertising, but I suppose what I've tried to do is make sure that I talk about a lot more of what I do on the side to promote that as well. I see that as my prerogative. But of course, if we find paying clients, they will quickly replace my ads because those would be more important. So I was interested in this article because of what I know about software as a service. Doing a little bit of research, I found out, of course, that most of the money that has gone into technology has been channeled through software as a service. We're talking the Microsofts, the operating systems, and the applications that go with that. So when I read about what NFX was suggesting, that AI is going to be bigger than was the SaaS, that had my interest. So they see that there are challenges as well as advantages that we must take, we must look at. When we're thinking about, he compares the appearance of the internet with what artificial intelligence is right now. That they use the words of Andy Grove in saying that the internet stopped being an industry and became the foundation for everything else. He says AI is the same. It is the internet. If the internet is the connector, AI is the doer. We now have an intelligence that works without human intervention, one that can underpin nearly every human activity, from gaming to drug development to running small business. This opportunity is vastly larger than SaaS ever was. It is far more likely the early internet. So he's making comparisons between what the internet was to technology and what AI is right now to us. Then he talks about second-order effects of autonomous and infinitely customizable software. I suppose what he's trying to say is our economics has been teaching us about the production, means of production, and labor. Now, if you can deploy a system that handles, that does all the labor for you at a fraction of the costs, and, there's a possibility that you can increase efficiency and cut down tremendously delivery times for products. So that's some rough idea about what he's saying in this section. We also go on, of course, to talk about Founders Freedom. I've mentioned Founders Freedom before. They are a Kenyan-based company that helps ensure that businesses outlive their founders by creating structures that can help them thrive and hence generate wealth that can be passed down to within the family. So there is a strategy arm where there is a strategy formulation, a review of current strategy and the documentation processes. Then there's a governance part, which is the evaluation of the board and development of the board. Then there is the business growth roadmap, which has preparation, assessment, recommendation, and those are the services that they provide. And then board formation, which talks about the governance assessment, profiling, and then board induction. So they're basically trying to help your organization have more structure to it so that you have professionals and people who are trained to handle the affairs of the business, do that while you handle other issues. Then we have some ads, of course, talking about the costs of advertising in the magazine. We have advertising costs for the technology podcast as well as the podcast that does spiritual issues. We also have shared the web design host costs as well as 2 publications for those who are in communication as well as those who are in consultancy. Now for a section I'm calling Social Watch, this sometimes what happens is as I'm reading through LinkedIn, several of the conversations that I have, a few conversations stand out. This is one of them. He was talking about the challenge of investor-founder relations in Uganda. So as a person who's written before about what exists in the technology and innovation ecosystem, I thought that he had some interesting views to share. This, of course, is the founder behind Sendu. And he's basically talking about patterns that he's detected in founder investor relations in Uganda. So you can have a look at that in your free time. Now, in one of the pieces or podcasts that I was listening to, someone was talking about differentiation, defensibility, and so I thought that I would like to share this. Just give you pieces, bits and pieces. Differentiation is what makes a product, company, or technology stand out from competitors, while defensibility is what makes a business or technology difficult to copy, replace, or attack over time. Just interestingly, he talks about the sources of defensibility, network effects, proprietary data, patents, economies of scale, high switching costs, brand trust, distribution advantages, deep technical complexity, regulatory barriers, and community ecosystems. For examples of differentiation, better user experience, faster performance, lower cost, unique features, superior design, better customer service, and specialized focus on a niche market. So you will appreciate some of these ideas. I've also given you a table showing the core differences in terms of focus, time horizons, customer visibility, ease of copying, strategic goal. Then the piece I share also goes on to talk about differentiation and defensibility in the case of artificial intelligence. Now, for those of you who are interested in film, I normally suggest a film that in some way talks about either the theme, the overarching theme for the magazine for that month, or maybe talks about another subject that I think is important. For this one, I think Yellowstone is a good series to watch when you're talking about business dealings. This one I think was particularly good because it was talking about ranching and cattle farming and large tracts of land, especially in the northern parts of the U.S., and how a father manages wealth, extensive amount of wealth, and his family members and children, as well as his enemies, those who are seeking to displace him. So there are very interesting dynamics in the series that make for good viewing. Now, for a book suggestion, Metin Pekin is the author of a book called Breaking Democracy's Chains. I had not come across a book so well written in terms of what material it covered, from helping us understand the history of democracy and the challenge that the founding fathers had spoken about regarding how political parties would in the future be a threat to the democratic process. So those of you who are into that kind of thing will appreciate this, but also these kinds of ideas influence how we do business. So that's why I shared that particular book. Now, Kevin Tusime is also very active on the Founders Lounge group. He lives in the US. I wanted to share what he's doing because he's pioneering an incentive-based system for education, where he's thinking about setting up small education clusters that help facilitate students, not only by helping them learn online, but also giving them some a decent stipend through a system that we have here called mobile money. So I wanted to share that because the conversations he's having are also really interesting. So he shares about his incentive-based learning model, his passions for education and technology, and as well as his insights on human capital in the global south. We won't dwell too much on the last 3 issues of the month because we already talked about those, or some of those themes are recurring. So of course we have the Dubai piece, 3 that is March, April, and May. And then we covered Norway and sovereign wealth funds. We also talked about predictions by Jumanem Tabalik of Sahara Ventures, based out of Tanzania. We also had a Q&A with Donald Maas of Summit Advocates, an expert on the law in Uganda. And we also had the 6 layers of artificial intelligence, as well as, of course, our Q&A with Lawrence Mawanda. And then a conversation with Andre Vestvik. We also have, as usual, our micro poetry section, and then a summary of some of the experimentations that we've been going through with the bakery, and then of course the advertising page for Hope First Bakery. So that's basically it for the month of June, volume 10, issue 11, an audio summary of the month of Intersection Magazine. Once again, thank you for listening. I've been your host, Nicholas Kianda. We look forward to engaging with you on our podcast and also on other platforms. Thank you for listening.
Intersection
Intersection Magazine Podcast.